Hi, I'm Chef Jamie Vincent Bordonaro, and this is Pursuit of Passion, where I share with you mouth-watering recipes, tips, and techniques to give you the tools to create memorable meals for you and your loved ones. Welcome back to Pursuit of Passion. It is a beautiful, sunny summer day, and today's episode is all about an iconic New England summer staple, a lobster roll. That's right, I went to Gulf Shrimp in Plantsville, Connecticut, picked out a gorgeous fresh lobster that we will use today to make the most succulent, buttery, lemony, delicious lobster roll. And to go with our lobster roll, we have fresh hand-cut French fries for crispy on the outside, light and fluffy on the inside, perfect texture and flavor, and a perfect accoutrement for our lobster roll feast. Let's cook. All right, let's get right into it. We have our beautiful 1.5 pound Maine lobster from the Gulf Shrimp Company in Plantsville, Connecticut. Nice and lively, ready for cooking. And the ingredients to aromatize the beautiful lobster meat are fresh shallots, garlic, lemons, fresh tarragon for aroma, and a lobster roll in the New England fashion is not complete without a beautiful hot dog bun of your choosing. And we can't possibly serve lobster without the best butter around. Blue grub butter. And the French fries accompanying our lobster roll will be made with beautiful russet potatoes. Now, our aromatics for this delicious lobster concoction, we have some minced shallots and garlic that you can see a demonstration of in such episodes as episode 1, Mushroom Risotto of Pursuit of Passion. Garlic, shallots, tarragon, all nicely chopped, and of course, fresh lemon juice. Onto our lobster. That's right, our Maine lobster from the Gulf Shrimp Company, fresh from Maine, nice and lively. And here is how to break it down. Ladies and gentlemen, I will tell you that the best way to do it, the most humane way to do it, is to utilize your chef's knife. Go in between the cross section on the top of the lobster, and that will cut right through the nervous section of the lobster that will cease all feelings within the lobster. It is the most humane way to do it, but of course, it is a bit graphic, so parental advisory is advised. Once you cut directly through the lobster, it is now officially ready to be fully butchered. Go ahead and make a small incision where the tail begins, and that will allow you to easily remove the tail from the body of the lobster. Just give it a quick twist. Now you'll see that there is a bit of roe in that tail. To remove that very cleanly and quickly, put a little pressure with your thumb and give a flick motion with your wrist, and the roe will come completely and cleanly out of the lobster tail, as you can see. Next up, you simply want to detach both of the claws. You can see that there is one larger claw, one smaller claw on most lobsters. That will help us to determine how we will go about the cooking process. Use a kitchen towel to very simply apply a little pressure and use leverage to snap off one of the lobster knuckle and claw segments, and we will apply the same technique to remove the other claw. And then just simply use leverage again to detach the claw from the lobster knuckle because they cook at different times, which will allow us to create the perfect texture for each part of our lobster. Go ahead and do the same to the other knuckle and claw section, and then go about separating the claw and knuckle once again. The bodies of the lobster you can, of course, clean and use to make a beautiful lobster broth that could be the base of a nice cioppino. In this case, we do not need the body, so we will discard it. Now that we have each part of the lobster separated, we've got our tail and the large claw. Those will go into the boiling water first. Then we have the smaller of the claws, and of course, our knuckles, which will be blanched last. We will use a minute by minute cooking technique, which will ensure that each part cooks evenly and leaves us with the optimal texture of fresh cooked, beautiful Maine lobster. So let's take it over to our boiling water, which is just 1 gallon of water and a cup of salt. Drop in first our lobster tail and the larger of the lobster claws. We cook those for 1 minute in the boiling salted water. After 1 minute goes by, we place in the smaller of the lobster claws for 1 additional minute. And finally, for the last minute, we put in our knuckles. And after 1 more minute passes, remove the lobster from the boiling pot, and you will have beautifully, evenly cooked, fresh lobster meat ready to be extracted from the shell and cut for our lobster rolls. Ooh, yes. And now it's time for some lobster meat extraction. Go ahead and grab yourself your favorite lobster handling gloves and a nice lobster handling side towel. The color is, of course, your own preference. Here we go with the tail meat. So we're going to go ahead and give this tail a nice stretch as if you're taking a trip to the chiropractor. That will help to allow us to release the meat from the shell. First, we'll take some of these tail pieces and very gently snap them right off. This will prevent the meat from sticking to the pieces of that shell of the tail. And once we're done removing those pieces, it will allow us easy access to a beautifully clean lobster meat from the tail. We'll just simply use a little leverage and press nice and firmly to crack that shell. And once we've cracked open that shell with both of our thumbs, you will be able to simply remove the tail in one fell swoop. Next on to our lobster claws. Removing the claws very simply involves a chef's knife, a towel lined cutting board, and some adept work with your thumbs. So remove the rubber band holding the claw together. Let's go ahead and start by jostling the lower part of the claw, the little pincher, and that will start to release some of its liquids. And then jostle it side to side. And we can cleanly remove the feather bone, which is a bone of cartilage that would be obviously unpleasant to bite into. And you can see here we removed it nice and cleanly, which is a great sign that it was cooked perfectly using our minute by minute technique. Once the feather bone is removed cleanly, you can see there's two little spikes. The first two spikes is where we'll insert the blade of our chef's knife. As you can see, we lay the claw out flat and slide the knife right through, then simply twist side to side. That will crack the shell open and allow us to pop the claw right out. Then we'll just very gently wiggle it right out of the shell so that none of it gets torn or stuck to the actual shell. And we have our beautiful lobster claw removed. Then repeat the same process with the other shell. Now on to the knuckle. So the part of that lobster knuckle that attached to the actual lobster carcass and claw, we're going to just simply snip off, and that will allow us access to the removable, plump, meaty parts of that lobster knuckle. And the next step is simply to make some small incisions with our scissors, our lobster shears. We will use an upward motion, angling the blade of the scissors up towards the shell, away from the delicate meat, so we do not slice through that flesh. And we'll do that on both sides to allow us to free open the lobster shell so that we can get into that delicious knuckle meat. Now, you want to be careful when separating the shell from the meat because there is a little bit of cartilage on both ends of the knuckle that we will very simply maneuver through. And once you see where it is attached to the meat, you just use your index finger or pinky finger to separate the meat of the lobster knuckle from that cartilage. And we'll do the same on the other side with the other half of that lobster shell. This will allow us to remove that lobster knuckle meat without tearing the flesh or leaving in any fragments of that cartilage. And just like that, we have our beautifully extracted lobster knuckle meat to go along with our beautifully removed lobster segments from the other parts of the lobster. Now it's time to cut that lobster meat up so that we can eventually toss it in our butter mixture, which will adorn our sumptuous lobster rolls. All right. Lobster meat is cooked and ready to go. Buns are toasted. Let's go ahead and get our aromatic solution going. We've got blue rub butter in a sauce pot with medium heat. Add in our garlic and shallots and some kosher salt. Sweat them until they're translucent to optimize their aromatic qualities without caramelization that would overpower the lobster mixture. Deglaze the pan with our white wine. Reduce to concentrate the flavor. Optimize the power of that beautiful acidity of the wine and the floral notes. And once that is now reduced, add in a squeeze of our fresh lemon juice. And last but certainly not least, we will begin to mount in our plugra butter. Create a beautiful emulsified sauce. Add in our fresh tarragon and off the heat, our fresh cooked chopped lobster meat with a final addition of seasoning. And we're just simply warming through. And now it's time for our sommelier selection. Today we have a Brea Chard. That's a Brea Chardonnay from California. It is a 2022 vintage. And let me tell you, it has the loveliest mild bit of oakiness. They specifically use mild oak because Chardonnays are typically classified as being overly oaky, which can overpower everything, but this is mildly oaky, and it also has a pleasantly crisp acidity to cut through the richness of that beautiful plugra buttery lobster mixture. And the final fry of our pommes frites involves oil at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And we just simply drop our pre blanched and frozen fries into that oil until golden brown, crisp, and delicious. Hit them with some kosher salt and enjoy. As always, I leave the plating up to you. Enjoy your own creative and artistic freedom. Go ahead and place that delicious lobster meat mixture into those beautifully toasted hot dog buns. Enjoy the meal. Thank you all so much once again for tuning in and supporting the channel. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, Pursuit of Passion. Hit a big ol' like button to this video if you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and please be well on your pursuit of passion. Cheers.